Hey y'all. I'm going to talk about you. Why aren't you working? You did not offer Frank. So because of that, y'all are going to watch me eat string cheese and these Ritz toasted things. Hi, Lisa. I even turned my overhead light on for this. I don't know why. It's in the same without somebody calling. And if y'all have not tried the Ritz toasted chips, you're missing out. These are really good. If you like the thin oven baked, the real, see how they're thin and kind of GMO. What is GMO? General Motors operator. I don't think glass is bright. It's the brightness that bothers me. Because I wear glasses and they're somewhere else in the house. So, I'm nearsighted. So I need them for looking off. And I always take them off like when I eat, stuff like that. But it's the brightness that makes me squint. So, generically modified oil. Yeah, that's probably right. I have not taken my Ambien yet, but I can. You know, things get better when I'm a little loopy. But anyway, y'all need to try these. They're toasted. Take a bite, eat a piece of cheese. Really good. Toasted, bite of cheese. This is what happens when you make me go live and I don't have anybody to talk to on the phone. And then you hear my dachshund down here. Have a toasted. Alright. So, what were y'all talking about in the chat room about something about my eyebrows are just like sorry. Woo, I'm a little ADD, I guess. What were y'all talking about? Somebody said something ugly or something, I don't know. And just so you know, I'm prepared. I got 3 more and a full tank. So we can go to at least 9 o'clock tonight. I just got these yesterday, so y'all are gonna be hungry for cheese. Alright. So we gonna talk boogers or what? Hi, Catfish. I don't even know who all's in here. Frank. Is Frank in here? Sissy. Sissy rode with me all the way back from my job in Hallsville back to Longview. Hey, Franker. Stop chatting on the other chat. I'm not on another chat. Yeah, me and Sissy, ride or die. Bad boys, bad boys. You were like you were my beat partner, Sissy. You were like sworn in momentarily. Because when I was on the east side of town, hang on, my nose feels runny. I can't give up. Y'all are killing me. I did not have a booger. My nose felt a little watery. So, you know what? Because I could take, and if you have a Walgreens in your area, these 24-hour tablets, Walzir, work really well. One for 24 hours. I just didn't take one this morning. And I went live this afternoon, but I don't think I saved it. I had to go out to Hallsville to feed. There's 4 black labs that are in these runs, these kennel runs. And I guess the previous owner maybe had hunting dogs, coon dogs, I don't know. But anyway, it's a real nice setup. But I have to, well, I mean, I'm done now. They came back today. They left. I had to do it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and today. But anyway, I had to spray out the kennels, and they were stinky. I went live 10 seconds after Tracy did. Hey, not my fault. Y'all wanted to come hang out on my parking lot and talk. Cigs? Pickles? What are y'all talking about? So anyway, D, hang on, my nose is feeling runny again. Sorry. This is what you get when you come into my house. D might be getting kind of full on October. I do not have boogers. And besides, if I had boogers, they'd probably be cool boogers. I'm around pet dander every day. But anyway, D, hang on. Hang on. Hang on. I gotta find you. Hang on. Hang on. Can you hear me? Are you there? D. Try it again. Try it again. D.
I'm here.
Hey, D's here. You didn't.
Hey.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing.
We're supposed to roast and toast Mr. Rick and Mr. Frank. Bad boys. No, I can't stop playing.
Did y'all hear my ringtone?
I didn't hear nothing.
Oh, I just wonder if they heard it. It's the Bad Boys thing.
Oh, I like that Bad Boys thing.
Yeah. So we need to roast and toast like the roasty toasty Ritz.
Rick and Frank are on a roll today in the chat.
Why are they being such sassy pants? Can y'all hear her? I don't have my Bluetooth thingy on.
Nerds they are. Yes, they are. 15 nerds.
Can y'all hear her? Let me know, because I can't tell. Okay. We lost 2 people. We had 7. Now we have 5. But this is the 5 that count. Well, I guess did you have to get off? Rick can't hear, so let's just talk about Rick.
Yeah.
Anyway, how's the weather in Arkansas?
We're actually, well, it's better now. We just got off on the tornado watch.
I hate tornadoes. Make me nervous.
Yeah, they just pop
They really up my prayer time.
Yeah.
I mean, tornadoes just because there's nothing you can do about a tornado.
Nope.
You're just at the mercy.
Yep.
What were you saying? I cut you off.
See what he's saying? You see what Rick said?
No.
Put your mic on mute.
Oh. He's been a little sassy pants for somebody who's still on the work clock. What's that number, Rick? Write it down. Write it down, D. What's the number, Rick? We're going to call you at work. Who's your boss? We want to know.
Do you not see what?
She can see.
Whatever.
We're women. We can see all, hear all, sense it all. Not to be confused with Sensodyne. We're mind readers. We can predict the weather. We know when you're lying. Rick's in love? Sissy, let me bring that back up. Oh, Rick's in love? Does Rick have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
I don't know. Sissy, what'd you say? Say it again.
Really? He's got a girlfriend?
I don't know. Oh, now Frank just said Rick right over their head. What'd we miss?
I'm not reading. Oh my goodness. Here we go.
I can't tell. See, I took away my
Chat.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, call him, D. Call him. Somebody call him. He probably just made that number up. There ain't no doubt he made that number up. Surprised he didn't just say BR549. All right. I want to address something.
Okay.
The other night, when Booger Rick went live and we were looking out a window and the clarity wasn't real great. But then he went live in a separate place and left us watching. Remember that?
Yep.
Okay. Y'all kept saying, I see something moving. I see something here. I see something there. And then y'all said something about, oh, it's standing up. And then it's blinking. And I'm like, I wanted to just go, Rick, you need to get to work. I didn't see anything. And I felt like a doofus because I wanted to say something. I'm like, I don't see anything. Because there was so much, it was pixelated. I mean, the clarity wasn't like super duper clear from whatever we were looking through at the chicken coop while he went off with his phone somewhere else. And I didn't see squat. And y'all kept saying you saw movement. And I'm like, I am watching this. I'm going to tell you how bad I got. How desperate I was seeing. I was watching on my laptop, which is an Apple computer. I pulled out my iPad and I had it on my phone. I had 3 viewing stations hoping something allowed me to see it differently. And I still didn't see squat. So what did y'all see when you said you saw something?
The bigger, sometimes I have to minimize chat, so I can't see the chat when I open the screen up. But if you open the screen up, it makes
I did it.
Huh?
I did it. I made the screen wide so I didn't even see the chat. Well, I mean, I could see the chat as it scrolled on my phone. I didn't see diddly, and it was killing me because y'all were like adamant. I see movement. I see eye shine. I am not delusional.
Yeah, well, we saw eye shine. Listen, we saw eye shine. The movement we were looking at, with the cameras. Even Sissy asked him to put his hands on the camera or do whatever to make it clear again because it gets fuzzy. But sometimes that pixelation back in the back almost looks like wind, where it looks like something's moving, but it actually isn't moving. It looks like movement. You know, the dark and the lighter dark and the darker dark. You know, you can't really tell what you're looking at because it's pretty far away. But someone had said something about something up on the hill or walking up the hill. I didn't see that, but I did see the movement on the side.
I didn't.
Yeah, I saw a movement on the side, but all it did was it looked like it went from a gray-black to a black.
I didn't see it.
Like. I said, is there movement? Yeah. Is there movement there? And then the eye shine was so far away, you could barely see it. You know, it was straight back there in the back, and then where you could really see it was like in that V on this chicken coop. You know, if you looked up at the top part there, right in between.
My dots.
There was an eyeball.
Yeah. Frank thinks I'm cutting wind on the computer. It's my wiener dog who is down here making noise because I'm eating in front of her. And she thinks she needs something. But anyway, I tried my hardest. There, be quiet. Frank thinks I'm having flatulence. Anyway, I tried my hardest. And then Mission said she saw something stand up, and I'm going, what are y'all watching this on? I don't see anything stand up. And I would try to fix my eyes on a certain spot and try to stay there. And I'm reading the chat, and I just sucked. I didn't see nothing. I'm not saying nothing wasn't there, but I'm just saying I just couldn't see it.
Well, you know, there's a lot of times that we're looking at something and we don't know what we're looking at. It's so dark out there.
Oh.
It could be the wind moving leaves around. You know, it could be just the camera. No one knows. You know, I mean, if you're out there, but if he's hearing stuff and we're seeing what we think is movement, but we definitely see eye shine. You know, you put the three together. But if nobody else sees eye shine, then, you know, someone's eyes are playing tricks on them, whether it's me or anybody else. But I sat there and watched that one spot, and I tried to clean off my screen, thinking maybe the screen was dirty. I mean, I looked at every
I don't see any boogers.
phone.
I'm telling you.
Huh?
I would sit there and I would like go, you know, do my eyes all going stuff. I didn't see squat. And I'm like, either I just suck at looking at boogers on the computer. But I think for me, my eyes, it was just too pixelated in a low quality. And so that was really jacking with me.
Like Sissy said, why don't you try it on screen TV?
I don't think I can right now. See, I got rid of my DirecTV. I cut the cable. Because I've got a 60-inch screen TV. I mean, I can see it really good. But I don't have,
Hush up, Rick.
what is that? Well,
ask your guest why she thinks she's an expert. You better knock it off, Rick. I'm telling you. I was asked by those people at Bigfoot Odyssey to go on their show, and he said something about me being an expert, and I went back and told him, I said, look, don't call anybody an expert. I am not an expert, and Rick has not stopped since. Expert.
What
expert.
is?
Oh, I'm by.
Hey, you know what an expert is?
Listen, yeah, I told him. I told that guy Kerry from Bigfoot Odyssey. I said, if you think I'm an expert, wait until you talk to Rick.
Do you know what an expert is? The word broken down. X means former, and squirt is a drip under pressure. That's Rick. A little cop humor there for you. Booger cop humor. X is former.
Sissy, if I could get Sissy, if you could call in too, if there was any way for the three of us to be on together, oh my word, we would have so much fun.
I'm telling you.
Miss Lisa? Yeah.
I don't know how to even do a three-way call. You better stop. Quit staring at my straw, Frank. Straw lives matter. What do you mean you don't get it, Rick? That's because you're an expert. Means you're a former drip under pressure. So, get some toasty Ritz. But anyway, I watched that chicken coop and watched and stared and stared. And you have a special chat room? This is like a girls only.
I'll invite her when that. Well, you can invite her before me because I don't even have a stupid microphone, and I don't have a camera either, so there's no way for me to do it at all.
Right.
But you can invite her. You can invite her, Sissy, and then I'll get in later.
Well, Sissy's now my beat partner because we rode together today, like patrol. And I retold. Oh, Sissy, I found that article where the guy got killed that I was telling you about, the traffic wreck. He got 40 years in the pen, and he was, when I was going through the intersection of Page Road and the Loop today, and I was doing my live video just for no good reason. Yeah. Well, it reminded me of a fatality accident that occurred there, and from the way I was facing from my right side, see, that's all Harrison County. That's another county, and our city limits stops not far past the loop going east. But anyway, DPS had gotten into a chase, and I was wrong about it being a stolen vehicle, Sissy. What it is the trooper had stopped a pickup truck, and the guy, I think, had his son in the truck. So the trooper found out that the guy had warrants. I had to go back and read the article. And anyway, the guy said, you know, can I just drive the truck home? Which, this is why we don't do this. When people start begging us, you know, hey, can you just follow us home so we can park the vehicle? No, that's why we tow. Because stupid crap happens. And anyway, the guy drops his son off, and I don't know why the trooper even allowed this to happen. As soon as the kid got out of the truck, boom, he takes off, and the chase is on. Okay, so DPS is now in a high-speed pursuit with this guy. He comes flying down Page Road, and this is a very, 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 very big intersection, and literally just blew through it at 83 miles an hour. I knew it was 80 to 90, but anyway, it was 83 miles an hour. Hits a guy going to work, and I thought he was in his 50s, but he was 62. And there's a big plant just outside the city called Texas Eastman, and it's a division of what used to be Eastman Kodak. And anyway, killed him. And I always think about that because you can imagine this guy in the car was going the speed limit, which was probably at that time around 55 or 60, and then he got hit in the driver door at 83 miles an hour. Okay, and so we had been given authorization to kind of head that way, even though it wasn't our chase, so we really don't get involved because chases are very sketchy. Would you stop? They think I'm cutting gas. Would you stop? Anyway, but it was a very, very bad. Oh, it was bad. The damage was just horrible. But I parked my car the direction I came from. I parked my car to block the street, you know, because anytime you have something like that go on, you've got a crime scene. And I blocked the street so nobody could get past, and then I hurried up to the victim vehicle. And I mean, it was, oh God, the driver's side was just so bad. I remember he was driving a Honda Accord, and but I could tell looking through the back glass as I got up there, because I came around to the passenger side. I'm like, he's dead. I mean, it wasn't a survivable impact. You're not going to survive that at 83 miles an hour. You're not going to survive it. And I could tell by his position in the car. I'm like, he's dead. But it wasn't our problem. I mean, when I say it's not our problem, it wasn't our wreck, wasn't our chase, none of it. So, but anyway, I always think about that when I go through there, because, you know, this guy died for no reason, simply because this man didn't want to go to jail. Well, guess what?
Gosh.
Now he's doing 40 years in the pen. So, but that happened in November 2010. And that was about a month before our officer got killed. So that was roughly about 8 months before I retired. Because after that...
Well, that guy doing 40 years isn't going to change that life.
He's got to do half before he's eligible for parole. But when you take a life in a motor vehicle accident in Texas, they're going to hang you up. You're going to go to the pen. And especially, I mean, it's his recklessness. 83 miles an hour, blew through 4 lanes of traffic and a median. That's how wide it was. So roughly, you know, like 6.5 lanes of traffic. And
oh my God.
83 miles an hour, and just, you know, it was horrible. It was a bad wreck. It just makes your heart sick. What?
Hey, Lisa.
Huh?
You see that blue color on Frank Lambert's name?
Yeah.
Yeah, you might want to remove that. Or you gotta put that boy in timeout.
Look, Frank. Crispy Rich. Going down to the fart maker down there.
No, don't you tell me to hush.
Oh, Frank. Frank's being a sassy. Where'd Rick go?
He's going home from work, he said.
Oh.
Don't talk about him.
Oh, let's talk about Rick. Sissy, did you say he had a girlfriend?
No. We're not going to talk about Rick that way.
If you was a cop where I grew up, you would have had gray hair at 25. Dude, this is all gray. I quit coloring my hair. I earned every gray hair that I ever acquired as a police officer.
The hair's gray?
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't look gray.
Yeah, I know, but it is, trust me. Very good. Well, hang on.
Anyway, see,
Ew.
Frank still has a record.
What?
Wait,
I'm scared to... I'm not putting Frank in timeout. You have a thingy, don't you?
No, I can't put him in timeout because I have a thingy too.
Oh.
See?
I'm scared. What if Frank, like, put in timeout? Okay, I did it. Frank has timed out
I'm ready.
for 300 seconds. How long is that?
I don't know, figure it out. 60 seconds in a minute.
5 minutes.
Anyway, yeah, see ya.
See ya, and I'll raise you a cheese stick. All right, so anyway, so I addressed my issue. We talking about thingies? What thingies, ready? We're going to talk about Rick. We're going to talk about Rick and his boogers. Because he's driving and he can't talk. And I just put Frank in time out. Because D made me.
Serve him right.
That was a really good live feed that he did the other day when he left his phone on the observation hill. That was crazy. That
Christy and I were saying, dude, if he leaves that up there and takes off, that is one of the best things. Just like what Tracy's doing. I think if they leave it, if he leaves it up there, we're gonna get a lot more activity.
Oh yeah.
But he wants to be in the middle of it. He wants the activity too. So.
Well, we all want the activity, but by leaving his phone up there, I mean, you're basically sitting down in their living room. Because they're so used to, you know, pestering him from their safe spot. Yeah. And by putting the phone in their safe spot. And I'm telling you, I kept hearing that deep, you know, that smell like a, I know I'm making a face doing it, but that was the, you know, it was just that heavy inhale. Yeah. And I could hear that, and I thought they're behind, one of them is behind that phone, and they're big on smell.
Yep. Yep, I remember that.
His are always in the yard to me.
We all need to talk him into doing that again.
Oh yeah.
Put one up there one night. Maybe when he's tired, he can just sit down there, go take a shower, go relax, drink tea or whatever, and then go back up right before he goes to bed and get it down. But I bet there'll be a lot of activity because they're really active right now. I can't wait to go back.
Yeah, I'm dying to go to your property, but my October's for some reason, getting busy on the weekends because that's when most of the people, that's when most of my customers will take off is on the weekend. So maybe we can schedule something during the week, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm cutting back my hours at work because I do the travel nurse thing for flu shots, which I hate, by the way, but I still do it because it pays really well.
Right.
But and I am booked all through October, but I'm going to the Honabi conference.
So I'm not gonna make it.
So yeah, I know you said that already.
Yeah, I mean I just can't.
And then I'm gonna sleep out there for a few days and just camp out there.
Well, and that was the weekend we talked about that could do an overnight there and then go to your property. But see,
yeah, we can go to my property anytime.
Well,
I'll give you the date.
Maybe after like October and before Thanksgiving, because everybody likes to buzz out of town for that too. So it's like I have a very short window of just some dead time, and it also depends on if my oil field guy will be out of town again, because he leaves tomorrow morning, in the morning, and he's gone for like 3 weeks at a stretch. And so I don't think I'd have any problem probably getting somebody to take my place, because I only have to make 2 trips a day. And but still, I mean, if we tried to plan for at least 2 good nights out there, because I can't stay gone too long. I mean, I've got my own dogs, and I can set them up to be without me for a couple days, but then it'd be a stretch after that. So
yeah, that's fine. A couple days is fine. But I would like to do the same thing that Rick does. I could leave my phone outside on my property. I could leave my camcorder outside of my property someplace out. I never thought about that, before. I won't take the camera, except for that small area that I go to.
No.
But I really wish that Rick would do that, put that back out again, because that was a great night.
Oh.
I don't remember how long. I think you left early. Sissy, how long was that night thing that we did?
It's like 2 hours that he just did.
Was it like 2 hours?
It was over 2 hours. It was like 2 hours, almost 2.5 hours. Hey, Red. Oh.
I mean, that was a long one. I went back and watched it again.
Did you?
Yep.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Great.
I kind of got in on it late. But I went back, I think it was the next day, and I watched it all over again from the very beginning, because I missed the very beginning. So where he was banging around and making all the noise, and then he drove off, just like he would do normally. So, but it wasn't long after that he finally settled in at the house. He was rattling that ladder. So, hey, Debbie. And so
I don't know. I don't know if you were there. I don't know if you were there yet, or if you come on here yet. But we were watching one. I don't know. You can tell me if you were or not. Maybe I'm just mistaken. But what he did was he was at his property. He kept hearing them up on the ridge.
uh-huh.
So he took his truck and he took off. He left us on the with the laptop down on the bottom, and then he went up to the top. And then you could hear him down the bottom. And then when he came back, I mean, when he got up there, he heard howls and stuff like that. But then when he came back, then they were up on the top again. They kept going back and forth, back and forth. That makes me laugh because every time when he takes off because he wants to go where they're at, they come back to his house.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if he left something running like he did before, it'd be a great night like it was that one night.
Oh,
because no matter where he goes, they go the opposite place. I think that and look at all the noise they're starting to make. They're throwing things. I mean, they are really throwing things.
Right.
I mean, the roof, that sounded like it was his roof, not the barn.
That, when they threw, what night was that he was just up there and they threw, must have been a rock, and it hit, I guess it would be the old outhouse or something. It was something close. It was, God, it was, and they pushed down a tree or moved a down tree. Anyway, it made the tree sound, and that was loud. But
I love it when they do that. They don't do that stuff on my property. That's why I like watching Rick's, because they're so different.
Yeah.
They're completely different than on my property. So they don't do any of that kind of stuff. I told him one time, or I told Vic, I don't remember who I told, but they were talking about those tree breaks when it sounds like they snap.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of times I've seen Boo, or one of the smaller ones, they play in the tree.
Right.
And I actually watched him because I turned just in time to see the big black movement from the tree, and he snapped that branch he was sitting on. Now, he was half sitting on that branch and half sitting on the tree, so when he jumped off it, he snapped that tree. And my gosh, it scared the living daylights out of me looking at it.
Was it like the one that we saw on, Jason, what's his name, Jason? I nicknamed him Buckeye Booger, Buckeye Booger, Buckeye Bigfoot. He's in our group. Remember the Ohio where it fell out of the tree?
Oh, yeah.
We spent all day analyzing it.
Yeah.
I'm still intrigued by that video. And how Sissy saw it run.
That running?
I never saw that. I wasn't even looking there because what got my attention was that branch going down. And I never saw to the left of that streak. Whew, it looked like a big black anaconda just went out of a tree. That was nuts.
Yeah, but the more time that you spend out at night with no light, the more that kind of stuff the more time you spend out there watching these things, the more of that you're going to see when you watch the videos.
See,
you train your eyes for that stuff.
But see,
you'll get a little more movement.
The cop in me, I'm comfortable with a flashlight because I don't like surprises.
No, you're not getting a flashlight.
Oh, I got a flashlight. I got a flashlight and a spotlight in my truck.
No. When you go out there on a property, you're not getting a flashlight.
Oh, I'm taking my flashlight. I'll put it down in my bra.
Yeah, you don't want a flashlight because they won't come close if you shine a flashlight.
Why? Okay, why exactly would I want this ginormous creature to get close to me?
Don't you want to see one?
Well, I do, but he needs to stay in his lane, and I'll stay in my lane, because you can't medevac me out if my big fat rear, if I have a daggum heart attack. What are you going to do, just strap my legs up with a toe strap and pull me out with a Dodge?
Oh, stop being a wuss. If mine were aggressive, I would take you out there. They're not. Boo will probably mess with you, but he's not going to hurt you. And he's not going to come that close. Like, if he does, I'll yell at him. But you're standing out there. It's dark. I will have the fire going. I always have the fire going. And out on the tree line, you'll start watching the tree line, and Boo will show up. And when he does, you'll shine a flashlight at him. You just look. You just watch him.
Okay.
And when
Well,
you go in
don't
to go
think
to-
I won't
when
be
you go-
watching.
And when you go in to go to bed, I'll make sure you sleep by the window. So he can come up to the window and growl at you.
Oh yes. Let's just growl at me while I'm trying to sleep. That will make me crap less in my pants.
He won't do it.
Oh, whatever.
He won't. He won't
I'm
do
gonna
it.
buy some big girl Depends. Because I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. That or I just don't need to eat for 2 days prior to getting there. So they can just all be false alarms. But I'm telling you, it'll scare the crap out of me. And the thing is I want to see one. I know it's gonna scare the crap out of me. Hope not literally, but. And it's the dumbest thing.
They know you when you're afraid, so that's a big deal. They know when you're afraid.
They don't know when I'm afraid. They don't know when I'm afraid. I'll wear some perfume.
They
won't smell that.
It's no different than it's no different than a dog that smells fear. They're the same way.
Well, then I guess look who's back. Frank's back.
I hope he doesn't try to open the door again. Oh gosh, if he tries to open the door again, I'm gonna freak out.
No, now you can't go freaking out. I mean, 2, 3 of us in that RV can't go freaking out.
Oh, my husband will already be freaked out, so that part, forget that. He'll try to be the guy about it, but he'll already be freaked out. Yeah, that's why he goes right to sleep. He don't want to see nothing, he doesn't want to hear nothing. He wants no part of that.
I'm telling you, I'm going to secretly somehow video inside the RV. I'm going to do it.
You can video inside the RV. Have fun.
At night, when we go to sleep.
You can video. Hey, you're more than welcome to video inside at night.
Because I want to capture, because I've got a Rode microphone that goes on top of my video camera. I want to get that growl. It needs to be a friendly growl. So, Boo, if you're listening,
you're welcome to do whatever you want on the inside. You just can't go outside.
Well, I guess it wouldn't hurt as much if I pass out on the inside.
You wouldn't go outside anyway because you're chicken.
I'm not chicken. You see that flag behind me? I wasn't chicken for 22 years. They called the police when they had trouble. Truck guy and camper.
Yeah, I bet you in your police years you come across some big boys, but nothing like that.
Yes. And here's how that would go down. Let me tell you how it kind of went down in my younger years when I was in my 20s. Because when you're in your 20s and you're new into this career, you don't care because I'm only 5'4", okay, and I weighed a lot less than I weigh now. Of course, I'm 51. I'll be 52 next month. So, I was in a lot better shape. I used to work out all the time, but I was 10 foot tall and bulletproof, okay, and I knew that I would be challenged because I was a female. And so I'll never forget this one time. This black kid hit his mom in the head with a Coke bottle. Didn't hurt her, put a knot on her head, but he was going to go to jail for family violence. Would you hush? It's my mom's chihuahua now. And she's going to get really sassy here in a minute. She'll probably start yipping. But anyway, he hit his mom in the head with a Coke bottle. And it didn't hurt her. Trust me. And she was a big woman. And I'm talking, I'm big. I'm big. I've gained a lot of weight. Of course, I've had a lot of things go on emotionally for myself, in the last 8 years. So anyway, I like to call it emotional weight. Anyway, this woman was a blob. She just sat down and she just grew, okay? She was a big woman. So big, in fact, that she was probably a blobby 350 to 380. Not an ounce of muscle tone on her, nothing, okay? And she was so big that she was so lazy that she never got out of her chair because I don't think she could. So when he whapped her in the head with the bottle, it's because she ain't going to get up to defend herself. So anyway, and the crazy part was he was still there And when when I got there, now mind you, I'm only probably a couple of years into being at the PD. So I'm still in this I can whoop everybody mode mentality. So I get there, the other officer hadn't got there yet, and we're at an apartment, not a complex, it was just it was a very old apartment close to downtown by the hospital. And I looked at him after she told me what happened, and he's still there. And he was like maybe 17 or 18 years old, but he was old enough to go to jail. And I looked at him, I said, you need to turn around and put your hands behind your back. He goes, I'm not going to jail. Well, let me tell you how that hit me, being a 20-something, young 20-something. I said, you're going to jail. And you can either go the easy way or the hard way, but either way, you're going to jail. And I should have waited. I should have stalled this out till the other officer got there, but because that would have made it easier. No. I got one handcuff on him, and he decided, I don't want to go to jail. And the fight was on. Now the trick is you don't let go of the other handcuff, because if it breaks through the ratchet, now you got a hook. Okay? So I'm hanging on to the other cuff with one cuff on his wrist. And when I tell you that we went over the coffee table, the end table, and into the sofa, it was on. And his mother's going, stop it! Stop fighting her! Because she was afraid he was going to hurt me. But at this point, I am so pumped on adrenaline, he could have broke my leg and I wouldn't have known it. So anyway, but I think he was surprised that didn't let go. And he couldn't shake me, okay? So anyway, about that time, the other officer came in through the door as we're wrestling around. And I mean, I'm on this guy like stink. Well, anyway, Terry gets there and we finish cuffing him up. And Terry hauls him on out to the car and he goes, I'll go book him in. I said, sweet. So anyway, I finished doing what I had to do. The next day, the officer that backed me up, we're probably 2-3 hours into our shift. And this kid had already gotten out. I guess his mama got him out of jail. And so Terry calls me on the radio and says, hey, I want a 25 with you. Well, that just means that he wants to meet up with me. So we pull up. I don't know where we were, parking lot or something. Anyway, we pull up next to each other, and he goes, hey, remember that kid from yesterday? I said, oh, yeah. He goes, well, I just ran into him. He flagged me down. I said, really? I said, he's already out of jail? And he goes, oh, yeah. He goes, but he saw me, and he flagged me down. I said, what do you want? He goes, he wanted me. He goes, tell that lady police I'm sorry. So he knew he was wrong, but yeah, that was a funny moment because he apologized for and Terry goes, well, you shouldn't have resisted. And he goes, I know, but I think he was surprised that he couldn't shake me. But I always had upper body strength, man. And I mean, when I got on you, I'm on you. And like a bull in a china closet. But that was so fun. I'll never forget that. He was like, he wanted to tell you he's sorry. And so it was kind of, that always made me laugh. And I never saw the kid again, For all I know, that was his only run-in. But, well, yeah, he needs to tell his mom he's sorry.
I don't think I could ever be a cop. I don't think that. I don't know. I just don't have that in me. I mean, you could put handcuffs on somebody or someone that was hit me. It was street fight. I could not be disciplined enough.
Well, the thing is they're not. Most of what we struggle with is people resisting. They're trying to break away from us. They don't. When we tell them turn around, put your hands behind your back, or we don't even say that. We just kind of go in. It's emotion. And we're going to cuff them up, and they know it. They're wanting to get away from us. It's not a turn. Now, some do. Some turn around and they'll fist fight you.
Can you blame them?
Do what?
Can you blame them?
Well, I mean, I had some. Now, when we got the tasers, several years before I retired. Now, we thought we were walking in tall cotton when we got pepper spray. Because prior to that, all we had was in the use of force continuum, we only had verbal, the hands-on, the use of force with the baton, before the very last thing you do is deadly force. But when we got the pepper spray, then we thought we were hot snot. But the problem is, we were all snotting because if you overshoot, overspray, spray too much, spray for too long, and then you're just doing an aerosol in the same room that you're stuck in the room with the person you're trying to handcuff, and you're all affected by it. And that happened a bunch. That was really fun because it gets down in your throat. It gets to your throat like quick. And not only is the bad guy coughing and gagging, you're coughing and gagging, and you're all coughing and gagging going out to the, and but you know, up at the county jail, man, they would just hose people with that spray. Well, it would just seep through every crack, and we're out there in the booking area, and all of a sudden, I mean, our prisoners are coughing, we're coughing. I mean, it's horrible, and it takes forever for it to wear off. But
yeah,
then
I hate that kind of spray. I'd rather be tased than sprayed.
No, I'd rather be sprayed. Never got the taser, but I had so much overspray that I didn't take a direct hit, but the overspray was bad enough. But when we got tasers, whoo, that sure did help, because you know it locks people up like a seizure. Because we were dealing with people and officers across the United States with people who were, we labeled it, law enforcement did, excited delirium. And, you know, they got a hold of bad dope. We had a guy die in our back parking lot where we personally parked. And we had a guy, he pulled in his car. It was a big old black guy. And he was sweating, and he was ripping his clothes off, and he thought spiders were all over him. And what's happening is he's basically having a heart attack in our back parking lot, and he collapses. And the reason he pulled in, there was an officer unloading at the end of his shift, and evenings was about to change over to midnights. And anyway, he's just going berserk. They said he just looked like somebody just took a water hose and just hosed him down. And he's pulling all his clothes off. Spiders are all over him, he says. And he collapses. And they said, the officer who he pulled up to said, right before he literally like lights out, he said, he either said, "Father, forgive me," or he wanted his mother to forgive him, and that was it. He died. And of course, the officer had already called EMS. Here they come. Everybody's code 3 to the back parking lot. He was a dead man. You know, across the United States, when officers went to tasers, we had to, prior to that, we had to physically go hands-on with somebody like that. And I've always said, there is strong and then there's crazy strong. And you can't fight crazy strong. You have to shoot it. And there were a lot of people getting killed by us because we couldn't put them down physically, hands-on. It was so dangerous. But when the taser came along, unless they pulled the barbs out, I mean, it affects everybody the same way, but it gave us, because when we taser somebody, if we hit the trigger and let it run its cycle, it's only 5 seconds. And if that doesn't work, you just hit it again. But it gave us the window to jump on them. Man, I'll tell you. And people go all the time, you know, do you miss it? Do you miss it? And I'm like, well, I miss parts of it. I don't miss all of it.
Well, did you see that last video? It's law officer. I'm a member of that one. But law officer, they have a video, and there's this guy. This guy's a big burly guy, and he's in the street with 4 or 5 officers, and they're all he's taking pot shots to their faces. I mean, he's just winging it. You could tell he is wasted. He's not something. And nothing they use, tasers, nothing that they use, they're hitting him with their billy clubs. Nothing is working on this guy. He is just completely unfazed by it. I mean, absolutely unfazed.
Yeah.
And finally, one of them hits him and takes him down, and he bites her leg.
Wow.
I mean, he's biting on her leg, and then the other guy apparently hits him, one of the officers hits him in the back of the head, stuns him just for a second. All three of them have used their tasers. This guy didn't face them whatsoever.
But see, that's what's scary. That is what's so scary, is what all this chemical mixing they're doing with drugs. I mean, it just turns people into, when I say superhuman, I don't mean it in a good way. It makes them almost inhuman. And we had, I think I was at Laterno, so I hadn't called it quits for good yet. I did a year and a half at a local university here in town after I retired, but I was listening on the radio, and our officers responded to a fourplex actually, on the north side of town, and a lady had called in that there was a young male, white male. He was running around in the middle of the street, which up where this was, would you hush? It's a four-lane street, and it's not a main thoroughfare, but it's a pretty busy street. He's running around in it, and she said there's also an SUV that's like parked up in a yard all crooked with his headlights on, so she figured he came from that vehicle. Well, what's happening is it's him and like three others. They have gone berserk. They tried some type of mixture, and I can't remember what the street name was. It's called like Yellow Devil or something, but it was just a mix of meth and crank and it's laced with all this crap in it. They were hallucinating. And the problem is, now the officers have to, one of the officers, because I was listening to it on the radio, and man, I wanted to respond, but it was on the clear opposite side of the city. And I don't know why I wanted to respond. I think it's just out of habit, because that's my people, you know. And, but I'm listening to them, and I was getting really concerned. They tasered one. He had one on the ground that he was holding in place by constantly juicing him with the taser, and had another one trying to jump on him, okay? And the other officers hadn't got there yet. And that's scary, you know, because you don't want to have to resort to deadly force. But when I'm going to tell you, I always told people, when it comes down to you and me, it's going to be me, because nobody loves me more than me and Jesus. And somebody's going home tonight, and I vote me. And if you put me in a position where I have to defend myself to the point of life or death, it's going down, you know. I was never afraid to die at work. I was never afraid to die. You just don't want to be there when it happens. But nobody loves me more than me and Jesus. And if you're going to try to hurt me, it's on. Because all bets are off at that point. You know, if you're going to physically try to hurt me as a police officer, you know, CNN and those guys can crawl all over it, but they weren't in my shoes. You know, I almost shot a guy 2 months before I retired. I was already stressed out because we'd had an officer get killed. And you can see it on our officer that died. She was a victim of family violence. It happens in our own blue community. And her husband killed her, and he was a civilian employee. But you can look up Ellen Gooden, Ellyn Gooden, Goodan, and it's on YouTube. It was the news segment. But anyway, so I didn't realize I was coming to the end of my career, but I knew I was tired. But we got a call. Well, we didn't get a call. Our undercover guys, which what they did was, all they would go around and do was serve felony warrants. And they drove hoopty type cars that nobody's looking for. They just blended in with the community, okay? You know, they wore plain clothes. They looked like somebody that probably worked at a bar or something. But that's how they blended in and snuck up on folks. So anyway, they're at a house all the way across town. And I'm at the PD about to unload because I'm about to be off for 11 days. So it's my Friday, so to speak. Wasn't going anywhere. I was just going to burn 11 days off. And I hear this officer get on the radio, and he goes, "Do you have another officer that can help us search for this guy?" And I'm like, somebody better pipe up. Somebody needs to pipe up, because Lisa doesn't want to drive all the way across town. And I don't know what everybody was doing, but I just know that you can't leave a person just hanging, okay? Because they never asked for our help. And so I finally got on the radio and I said, 261, I'll be en route. And I mean, I'm just like, and I'm flying all the way back across town. And I knew it was going to take me a minute, because it literally, our police department is literally in the center of town. And where I had to go is almost to the city limits on the west side of town. No quick way to get there. I get out of the car just as another officer got out of his car, who never said he was en route, and that still pisses me off 7 years later. Anyway, because if you're close, say something. Don't let me drive all the way across town and then you get out too. So anyway,
yeah, but he made it there the same time you did.
He did. So he couldn't have been too far away. So anyway, I just knew where I was coming from. But
Hi, Lisa.
Who's leaving?
Lisa.
Oh, bye. Anyway, I approached the house, and I can see them walking around. They've got their, each one had their gun out, kind of down to by their leg. And I'm one of these that if they have gotten to a point where they need to have their weapon out, I follow suit. Okay. So I pull and I have no idea. I just know they're there to serve a warrant. I have no idea what the warrant is, who we're looking for, how old they are. I know zero. Okay. And so since they have their weapon out, I pull mine out. Got it in the low ready down by my leg. And I said, "What are we doing?" And they're like, "We know he's in here." And this is a fairly decent 3-bedroom, 2-bath brick home. I said, "Okay." And so my job was going to be, I stood facing the doorway, and then to my left is a hallway. So basically I'm at that intersect, okay? That way nobody's going to run out the front door, and if they do, they're going to have to run over me. And so I said, "Y'all have searched all this behind me." And they said, "We've searched it 3 times. He is not back," which is the dining room, the kitchen, the laundry, all that part of the house. And I mean, they've opened cabinets. They've looked everywhere. So they are 10,000% positive he's not going to be behind me, because I don't like to turn my back to stuff. Even when I go in a restaurant, I sit with my back to where I can watch out, okay? And so I'm standing there. I've got my gun out, got my flashlight, and I'm in this low ready to where my arms are resting on part of my, I call it a rig, my duty belt, okay? Again, I wasn't this heavy. So anyway, the officer that had gotten out when I did, I watched him. Now the house is quiet, and what they're waiting on is for Dad to show up, because 2 or 3 of the bedroom doors are locked. Okay, so they don't know. They're assuming he's probably in one of these bedrooms. And so Cody checks right at the corner of where I'm at is like a coat closet, okay? And I see him go up, and he puts his hand on the doorknob, and he goes to turn it, and it doesn't turn, and then he lets go, and he checks these accordion doors next to it, and he goes, and he disappears. So I'm just standing there. I've got my radio, because I wore a lapel mic, so I've got it turned down. And I'm just waiting, and it gets real quiet because they're being quiet. As it turns out, we're looking for an 18-year-old that's got an aggravated sexual assault of a child warrant on him, because he seemed to like 13-year-olds, okay? 18, 13, not a big age difference, but in the state of Texas, under 14 is considered a child. I wish I could forget the law, but anyway. So anyway, I didn't think anything about it when Cody went to turn that doorknob, okay?
Oh my God.
Well, I'm just standing there. And the reason Cody couldn't open that door, unbeknownst to me, little turd is in that closet, okay? And he has taken a doorknob with a little center turning piece in it, and put it on that closet door to where the locky piece is on his side. So when the police show up, he can run and jump in that closet, lock the door on his side. But it didn't occur to Cody, and it really didn't occur to me that door shouldn't have a lock on it. It's just a coat closet in a hallway, okay? So anyway, about this time, I'm standing there, and I hear this metallic, wasn't loud, but it was just loud enough that it got my attention, because I remember standing there facing forward, and I went, what the hell was that? Okay. And I'm like, and what's happening is, he thinks the coast is clear, because he doesn't know I'm standing there. And he turned that little centerpiece, and he's grabbing the doorknob, and the thing is the door opened to where he was going to have to come around the door to clear it, okay? It's not like he'd open it and through the crack he'd see me. He has to come around the door. Well, in a burst of action, of movement, he throws that door open, comes around it, scares the living crap out of me, okay? Because, I mean, he broke the silence when he did that. And all of a sudden, just, it'd be like if somebody walked in your bedroom right now and just wham, slammed your door. Well, it kind of had the same sound when he burst it open to come around it. And when I tell you, I threw out a lottery of words that I'm not proud of. But what I didn't know about myself was that I was still not in a good place emotionally from 6 months before that with the death of our officer. So I'm already, you know, walking a very fine line. Anyway, he burst open that door when I drew up on him, and I'm yelling all sorts of colorful language to get on the ground, get on the ground. And I mean, it comes from the diaphragm, because that type of being startled and taking care of business just comes from a deep place. He had something in his hand, which turned out later to be a cell phone. So when he comes around that door and he's holding, you know, something dark in his hand, in that split moment, I had to make a decision. And, you know, to shoot or not shoot. And I had already pulled back about a click on my trigger, and the hammer was coming back because I carried a Beretta 9mm. And of course, when I hollered and screamed, you know, they come flying down the hallway, because I never did that, you know. And so anyway, they pancake tackled him and made a mess out of him and carried him out. And he was like, I didn't have sex with her. And I'm like, shut up! You know, I'm so mad, because what he doesn't realize is I almost killed him. And what the media would have never, they would have just slaughtered me in the media, because it would have come out as a 22-year veteran shot an unarmed 18-year-old with a cell phone. You mean to tell me you don't know the difference, Officer Chatterton, between a cell phone and a handgun? But what they don't realize is you have to make that decision. And so at that point, I had kind of coined my own phrase: you either shoot and you hope you're right, or you don't shoot and you hope you're right. Because if I had chosen not to shoot and he did have a gun, I would have been dead. We were literally, I could have poked him in the chest with the end of my barrel. That's how close he got to me. When he and I kind of ran into each other, even though I was standing still. That's how close it was, and that's how fast I had to make a decision. And I'm going to tell you, they start hauling him out the front door, and they're heading to my car. And I was like, put him in Cody's! I was screaming, and I got in my car, and I shot out of there. I was so mad, because he was still like, I didn't have sex with her. And we're like, shut up! You know, because I'm so mad. I'm like, I almost killed you, and you still don't realize it. And, but anyway, that was the worst feeling, because I thought I was about to die. And I can't even begin to describe to you the feeling that shot through my system faster than the speed of light. And, I mean, it just makes you sick. when you realize
Yeah.
that it didn't happen, but it's happened to other officers and they didn't go home. And
Yeah.
it just makes you sick. But anyway, it just,
Well,
whoo.
before you go any further, let me interject for a second, just for a second.
Okay.
I watched this. I forgot what, I think it's on YouTube. You guys can look it up. I'll have to go in my history and find it. But there was somebody from the news media that was really ragging on cops for their strong arm tactics and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did was they took this guy, and he was a big mouth. Whatever. He's a big mouth. Anyways, they took him to their academy, and they started doing the training with him that they do with the local PD. And they gave him, a weapon. Of course, it had blanks, or I don't know what it had in it. I don't know what it had in it, but anyway. So, and he was telling them, "Oh, stop that with your cookies." Anyway,
Amazon.
And this guy didn't shoot the guy that would have killed him, and shot 3 others that weren't even threatening. I mean, and then they had then one of the females who was in the same company that this guy worked for, the same office, I guess. And she said, "I want to try it." She thought she could do a little bit better. And she did the exact same thing. They did different scenarios. And these people were just standing by a car, or walking around a corner, or come out of a store, and, they're supposed to be the officers. These journalists are supposed to be the officers. And so they have their choice of the gun or the billy club or whatever you call those things at the time. They have their choice of weapons. And every single time these people pick up their gun, they said, "You just shot somebody that didn't even have a warrant. How do you expect us when we're trained? How can you guys call us names that you call us? When you're right in the middle of it, you're doing it. You shot these people. You killed them for no reason.
Right.
Nobody knows what it's like until they're in your shoes.
No.
And I have police officers here. One that I trust. Trust with my life. Moving to Kentucky, as a matter of fact. And he got a job offer there. But the rest of the ones that are here are from other towns, bigger towns, bigger cities. And I wouldn't give them the time of day. And I get mad at people that have these shows on YouTube. They're talking about how bad these cops are because they're just inciting, anger.
Right.
You don't see the whole story. You only see parts of it. You don't see the whole thing. And the ones that go to the police departments to try to intimidate them, those. I think that's one of the reasons that people get so angry. It's easy to get caught up in somebody else's, attitude against them. So here I am. My son gets pulled over. He goes to jail for child support.
Right.
And he's telling me this. My son tells me how the officers were treating him. So I go down to the police department, and I have a friend that he's now the police chief there, and I said, I want to see your recorders. I want to see your body cam.
Right.
And he said, you trust me? And I said, yeah. And he goes, and you don't need to see him. And I said, that right there tells me I need to see him.
Right.
I trust you or not, but I want to see him. And he said, you're not going to be happy. And I said, if I need to kick my son's butt, that's fine.
Right.
I said, I'm not worried about that, and you know it. So I watched it, right? I watched the video. Now, my son had told me that they said this and they did this and blah, blah. And they didn't. My son was being a jerk. An absolute jerk.
Wow.
But at this point, 10 years later, of them putting him in jail for child support, less than, by the way, less than $200, it's because they're bored.
Right.
And so it's just now a matter of, just being irritated with it. So I go down there, and the one officer that arrested my son is smaller than I am.
Oh, wow.
Now, I'm not itty bitty, but I don't weigh much, and I'm 5'7", but this guy was smaller than me. And I just called him out. I said, you know what, you're a punk, and I said.
I wouldn't have said punk.
Yeah, well, I did. I said, take your badge off, take your gun off. I said, meet me outside, and I shall kick your butt. You know
how many people have told us that? They're like, just
60
take your...
years old, 60 years old, and I'm threatening this young punk cop because his mouth. The society today, the people today, the youngers today are freaking me out, Lisa. They're freaking me out. They have no no respect.
Well, I won't tell
So you
you.
don't need these kids becoming cops. You don't.
The oh, how can I say this? Um, I've probably told you this before. I've been up in the jail before when they'd have somebody rowdy, and then they finally got them calmed down. They're sitting on the bench, but when everybody gets in there, they want to use the phone. Well, they can't. They got to wait till it's their turn, and then they can make their collect call, whatever. There's a process to follow. But if someone started getting rowdy again, some of these jailers, some of them, not all of them, but there was one in particular. He would run his mouth. He got very cocky because he had finally promoted to where like he was a sergeant, then he was a lieutenant, which apparently is not hard to promote when you're in a sheriff's department. But trust me, at the police department, it is a process. You have to take a 2-part test, then you go before an oral interview board made up of brass from other departments, like in the Dallas Metroplex. They come here. I mean, it's a process. And so, anyway, this one particular guy, he would just spout off and say all of these real cocky things, And I sat there and I thought, and I thought it for years. He wouldn't talk like that to somebody if he spent time on patrol, because when you're out there by yourself with somebody who's being an asshole, you're not going to run your mouth because you're just waiting for the other officer to get there because it's safer that way. And but I thought, man, I'm just waiting for somebody to jump off that bench and just pop him right in the face, because he deserved one to knock him down. But he was so cocky because he knew he had all these jailers around him that would jump in and go to business with somebody if they. But I'm like, don't sit there. I always told the new officers, if you can't whip them, don't talk crap to them, because there's always somebody who is willing to put you in your place at whatever expense. They don't care if they go to jail. They've been there before. But I'm going to tell you, it pays big dividends to just the best you can treat people literally the way you'd want to be treated. That they are, they've been through the system 10 million times. You can't, there's nothing you can do about it, No. But the small town departments like that, they probably haven't seen a lot of action, so to speak, because if they had, they'd be a little more toned down.
They get their heads are so big here, they think they know it all because they came from a big city, and they need to knock down a few pegs. And I've gone to the police chief and told him, I said, put your boy on a leash. And I said, tell him, remind him where he's at. If he wants to continue doing what he's doing and acting like that, he needs to go back to the city. Because it ain't going to work here.
Well, see, that's why I got burned out so much at Laterno, because it's a little bitty 3,000 student body little Christian campus where the only thing that happens is the little hooligans in the neighborhood around it, because it's on our very south end of town. It's a very old side of town, and they'll come on campus and steal their nice $500-$600 bicycles because these kids don't know to lock anything up. And it was like going to Mayberry, and I felt like I had come from NYPD to Mayberry, and I couldn't stand it because I had done what I did for 22 years. I couldn't handle the slow pace. I couldn't handle it because I would still do my job like I did when I was at Longview, and I still did it to the standard that I had. And I was miserable because over there, they just treat everything like Mayberry. And, well, we'll do a report. And I'm like, well, you're supposed to do a report. Just because we probably won't find their bicycle, you can still take a report, because the kids are calling us because that's what they've been told to do. And we had one officer who he would just get out of taking a report, and that drove me nuts. I'm like, just take the report, man. I know it ain't going anywhere. We know we're not going to find their bicycle. Reports are
Well,
overrated.
let me ask you a question. What do you think of this I guess it's been around for a while, but I didn't know anything about it. What about this citizen crap, that new sovereign citizen?
Sovereign citizenship?
Yeah.
The sovereign citizen?
Yeah, I've been watching it on YouTube where they won't roll down their windows. They're saying, am I being detained? What
Yeah,
are you
I've seen
pulling
it
over
too.
for? I want to see your supervisor. What is all that?
Remember Ruby Ridge? The big FBI shootout in the 90s up at Ruby Ridge. What was it, in Idaho?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically the same thing. They think that they don't have to follow the law. It's messed up. I mean, it's two sovereign citizens. It was a man and I think his son. They killed two West Memphis police officers. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was before I retired. But the guy refused to have a driver's license or renew his license, or get his vehicle registered. Basically,
But
they just...
he said he was a free citizen, that he didn't pay taxes, that he didn't need to be
Right.
on the books to do basically what he wanted.
Right.
And that the law had no authority over him. Well, let me tell you, that has skyrocketed all over the United States. And if you go on YouTube, when you're bored and start watching, you're going to be shocked, because I am surprised. This one lady in Texas, I just got through watching this, but a couple of days ago. This lady in Texas, she got pulled over. All she had was a taillight out. And she was screaming this cop she was recording everything. She was screaming this cop was abusing her, and he was using foul language, and that he was profiling her, and blah, blah, blah. She was getting shot and killed. She got shot and killed outside of her.
Let me tell you, we have a saying in law enforcement, and anybody can use this phrase: you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Why don't people just do like Sissy just said? This is what bothers me about these YouTube videos. If an officer pulls you over and asks you for your ID, what's the problem? Unless you don't have one. What is the problem with using your ID or your license? Your insurance.
Because somebody, well, I won't tell you, where it has grown is when phones with cameras came along and the ability to record, because that crap's been going on since I was hired and eons before that. And, we've always had somebody that was going to resist. They cracked their window down this much. I had a guy, he was with his family, and I pulled him over, I think because he wasn't wearing his seatbelt. And it was just off of the loop. And this was a long time ago when I was on evenings. But anyway, I was so surprised he acted like this in front of his family. It was his wife and his two kids in the car. And this guy was probably like my age or a little older at that time. And I approached his car and I told him, I said, sir, I need to see your driver's license and your insurance card. And he rolled his window down this much and started asking me, why did I pull him over? Why does he need to see this and that and blah, blah, blah. And I said, sir, I'm only going to ask you one more time. I need to see your driver's license and your insurance card. And I said, if you fail to identify yourself, I said, you'll go to jail in front of your family for fail to identify. I'm not going to play with him, And his wife is sitting there going, would you give her the, she's like about to die in the passenger seat, but he's just being an ass. There's no other way to say it. He's just being an ass. And, but you have to what's the word for it? You can't back down to him. Okay? You just can't back down to him. And so, but there's always something, but he finally coughed it. Oh, this is what he did. He got his wallet. And I'm going to take my little tissue, Rick. Anyway, he's sitting there in his car, and this is his wallet. He pulls out his driver's license like this. He goes, there it is. And wouldn't hand it to me. When I tell you, I wanted to reach through that window and drag him out. I'm not kidding. He did. He had his wallet and he goes, here it is. And I'm like, I'm about to shoot you right here in front of your family just because. But I mean, that's what.
You just answered my question. You just answered my question right there. Your comment. I wanted to pull him out and shoot him.
Oh my God. Huh?
I was going to shoot him for not giving me a piece of paper.
Some people, you know, some people just need to be shot for general purposes. I'm serious. I sometimes wish we could just go back to the 1800s and someone goes, you know, I ain't going to show you my driver's license. Well, that's fine. Now you don't have to. Carry on. And you're bleeding now, so go on. It gets so aggravating to have somebody resist to just do simple compliance, you know. And yes, you can go to jail for failing to identify. If I have a lawful reason to have you detained. Now, if I just walk up to you on the sidewalk and you're just going down the sidewalk with your shopping bag, minding your own business, and I come up to you as an officer and go, what is your name? You don't have to answer me because I don't have a lawful reason to be detaining you. Now, if I tell you, hey, we're out here looking for somebody, what's your name? You know, I've developed a way to kind of ease into it to where people didn't feel like I was just slamming them on the wall verbally. Because I want the information. I want the information. So if I can get you to feel comfortable enough to tell me without realizing you just told me what I needed to know, score one from me. So, but you have to learn to do that. Because if you just go at it with this mentality of, I'm the cop, you're not, if I asked for it, you need to give it to me, blah, 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 blah. And people get real turned off to that. They want to feel like you're not giving off this superiority type, I don't know. I got to where I'm better at being a communicator. And so I just expanded on that, you know, and I took advantage of that and I worked it. And because I need the information. I need to know. I realize you don't want to be a witness. I know you don't want to be seen, but I really need to know, what did you see? You know, we can go around the corner. I just need your information. You know, how can I call you? Because it's just, but if, I know I would shut down if someone talked to me in a certain way. I wouldn't give them any information either. So, but as far as just, you know, being frustrated, we were expected to be better than the person who's aggravating us. Doesn't mean that we're not going to lose our cool. Would you stop? I am on live YouTube. She is still sitting here for 88 minutes whining for a...
Well, Sissy, let me tell you something. I know I agree with you. I agree with you to a point, but I'm going to tell you, and I think I've said this once before.
What'd you say?
I was driving home from work, and I only live about 8 minutes away from my job. I'm really close. And when you go through the square, I call it the square, there's a little bridge. And I get to the other side of the bridge, and the officer behind me lights him up, pulls me over. And I mean, he came out of nowhere, and the speed limit is 25 miles an hour there through that square. And I mean, he floored it. And he came right up on my tail, you know, and pulled me over. I mean, he acted like, oh my gosh, I've done something. So I thought, you know, the first thing that popped in my mind was, you know, maybe he just wanted me to move over and he was going to a call. Because that's exactly how he was acting, right? So I pulled over. He gets out of the car, he comes walking over, and I rolled down my window and I said, what happened? You know, I said, what's the matter? And he looks at me and he goes, he goes, sorry. He goes, never mind. I said, who do you think it was? You know, and he said, no, I'm sorry to bother you. I said, who did you think I was? I said, my son. You know, and he just looked at me. And I said, this needs to stop. And I said, I've had enough of this. This needs to stop. So I went down to the police department the next day and I had reiterated. I go down there all the time and I yell at them. But anyway.
Well, that's not how you make friends and get them on your side.
Why would he put on his lights? Why would he pull me over like that? Not even though, that is crazy. That made me so angry. Oh my gosh.
Well,
so angry.
Here's the thing you also have to remember. You don't know as the citizen. They could have gotten a bolo out for a gray truck. Okay?
What did I say? Didn't I say that first? Well, I thought maybe. No, he thought it was my son. He thought it was my son.
Well, but you know what? If it's a small town, they're going to be more up on who to be looking for. They kind of know the ones who are always going to be in trouble, so to speak. I'm not saying your son's one of those, but I'm just saying when you work a specific area, because we were all assigned a beat, you start to know who moves and shakes in that beat. You know what they drive. You know if they're driving without a driver's license, and if you see them again, you know you're going to follow them. You know you're going to wait till they turned and didn't use their blinker. And
well, I'm gonna go put Limburger cheese on his manifold.
Put some raw shrimp up in his muffler.
I'm telling you, I cannot stand it. I've got to get out of this town. And I told the top friend of mine, I said, I'm moving. He goes, really, where are you going? I said, I'm not telling you. And I said, the further I get away from Greenwood, the better. I said, do you remember this town used to be great? He goes, yeah, it used to be. I said, before the new house.
Yeah.
And he goes, gee, I'm out of here. I am out of here.
Well, I'm telling you, when an officer works 8 hours or 12, whatever the case may be, and they work a specific side of town, you're going to know who moves and shakes in your beat, because that's what you're paid to do. You're paid to know who your people are, that you're always, because once you come in contact with somebody, whether you arrest them, let's say I pulled your son over, he's got a warrant for child support. Once I become familiar with who he is, and I see him driving again, let's say he doesn't have a driver's license, and 2 days later I see him driving again, guess what? I'm going to pull him over again. It's not
Hey, that's fine if he doesn't have a driver's license. But do you know that he took him to jail 2 days ago, and that means that he's out again, that means he paid that. They know that means he paid. That is harassment.
I'm not talking about the warrant. I'm talking about, let's say I know for a fact he does not have a driver's license. It's suspended. Let's say it's suspended. And 2 days later, I see him driving again. Guess what? I'm going to pull him over again.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Well,
they deserve it. That's what they deserve. They shouldn't be driving if they don't have a valid driver's license.
But when we
no problem with that.
When we work our area, we start to learn who our people are. And if somebody becomes a frequent person that we're always in contact with, they're going to stick out more than old Mother Hubbard going to the grocery store on Sunday or something. You just know who your people are. And it's not profiling at all. But people have a misconstrued idea about the profiling. It's not profiling. It's called doing my job. I start to learn. I used to keep a notepad that specifically had vehicle descriptions, license plates of those vehicles, who was driving them. Even though we could look this up in the computer in our car, would you stop? Sorry. She's driving me nuts. But I kept, if I saw vehicles that would drive off from areas that we knew, I worked, my last 8 months, I worked an area that's our south side of town. It's very old. It's got issues. But, you know, if we see someone leaving a dope house, guess what? We're fixing to follow you.
Yeah.
And just in cop terms, white people just didn't live down in this neighborhood. So if I saw a white person and a vehicle that I just doesn't, the vehicle alone looks out of place, guess what? I'm fixing to follow you, because if anything, I just want your tag number and you go in my little book. And because if I see you again, well, it's being white in a non-white area. And I pulled a guy over one time down in that area. I waited till he turned and didn't use his blinker. Feather-legged as it is, he failed to signal his intent to turn. But it's legit. pulled him over,
Yeah.
and he told me he was lost, that he was looking for Walmart. There ain't a Walmart in that area at all. So I know he was lying. He's down there trying to buy a piece of cocaine, you know, crystal or crack cocaine. But
Yeah.
we had trap houses, and trap houses are unoccupied homes that are just they're nasty. You know, even the roaches
Yeah.
won't live in some of these, and they're just nasty old frame houses that are they're just gross. You just expect to find a dead body in them. But we call them trap houses, and all they're doing is they're occupying it just to do drug transactions, or they're using drugs, and they're called trap houses. Nobody actually lives in them. And what happens is, we get our police area representative for that area to get on to the owner of the home to either board it up, make it to where they can't get in, and because we'll start putting heat on the owner of the home, and we start filing what's called nuisance abatement. And you get so many nuisance abatement notifications, whatever, then we can take the homeowner to court. Because if you're going to own a home and just let it go to crap, and let any Tom, Dick, and Harry slide through there, prostitutes, you know, people that they just bought a rock and they want to go smoke it real quick in their crack pipe. If you're going to let your house turn into that, we're going to get onto you, and we're going to start hitting you in the pocketbook. And oh yeah, but but that's the thing, you have to. So that's why you start learning your neighborhood and who's moving and shaking in it, and you become familiar with certain vehicles. You just know the vehicles associated with this person. It's not profiling, it's called police work, you know.
Yeah.
But
well, my favorite thing to do now is when I go to town and I see one of the officers coming by me in his vehicle and he's checking me out, is to roll down the window and wave hi to him.
Is he checking you out like, ooh, there's D?
No.
Hey, you never know.
Look, they know my truck. They know my truck, and they know my son drives my truck. So
yeah.
their windows are tinted, mine aren't, and well, the back ones are, but the front ones aren't. So they can clearly see. So when they're still staring, I roll down the window and I just wave at them, and they usually turn their heads.
That's when you need to pick your nose. Question, Lisa. I heard cops were not allowed to sit and wait for speeders to go by, but then why do they sit in business parking lots? You can run. Well, you can run radar. I mean, I can either run.
They don't use radar. They just sit there and wait. They know most of the people.
They have radar. Trust me, they have radar. We have front and rear radar. I talk like I'm still there, but y'all know I'm retired. But anyway, we have front and rear radar. So if we sit just off the road, we can switch the unit on the dash to read the cars coming up behind us. Not sitting private party, those. When you say wait for speeders, let me rephrase this for you. It's called running radar. We can run radar. We're running traffic is what we're doing. And yeah, that's the only way. Unless you're still moving, you've got to pull over. And what you do is you just find an area that business owners or residents complain that people are just whizzing through there too much. And what you do is you just find your little spot and just sit there, turn your radar on for stationary, and just watch them come. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. And then when they go past you, whoop, make that U-turn and you light them up. It's not a hiding thing, you know. But what's funny is to hear it from the citizens' end of it, because they don't know what we're doing. So I like to explain what it is that we're doing so that people understand that we're not hiding. And but if you see an officer just sitting off in a parking lot, he is probably writing a report. He's probably talking on the phone or calling dispatch or following back up with someone who has called dispatch and they want to talk to that. We're usually working. But people think, oh, he's just sitting over there in the parking lot playing on his computer. I can assure you he's not. He's probably typing a report, because all the reports are now done on the computer, on the laptop in the car. you know, at some point we have to stop and do our reports. And it's just kind of funny to, huh?
It's for you.
For me, what are you talking about?
You have to do reports.
Oh, man, we are not eating donuts, Rick. Has Rick been good this whole time? I haven't even been reading the comments. I got pulled over in Logan. I asked why, and they said because I was in a drug area. I asked where in Logan wasn't a drug area. Uh-oh.
Yeah,
you don't.
We're in any place that's a drug area.
You don't just get pulled over because you're in a drug area. You have to wait till you do something to get pulled over.
Yeah, I got pulled over again. I'm 71 because I like to see, you know, I got a left foot. And state trooper pulls up behind me, and I look in my mirror, and he's laughing. Now he's got a big smile on his face, not laughing, but a big smile. And I roll down my window, and he comes up and he goes, and I look at him and I say hello, and he says hi. He goes, "Where's the fire?" Because my tag's a firefighter plate.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to say that. I said, I'm sure you couldn't wait to say that. But
Yeah.
I didn't get a ticket. He let me go. Most of the people don't do the speed limit there on that highway anyway, and they were supposed to raise it, but they haven't. But that's great. That's a great speed trap, that area right there. They put in 2 new traffic lights to slow people down. Because me doing, it's a 65 mile an hour
Yeah.
area, and I'm usually doing 70.
There is a section of street that runs north from our hospital that's downtown on Highway 80. And I was running radar in this section of street, and golly, what's the speed limit? I think the speed limit's 30, because it's all businesses. And you got little old ladies leaving from doctor's appointments and all sorts of crap, okay? And I think the speed limit's like 30. It's really low for that area. Anyway, here comes this pickup truck. And I mean, he's clipping. He's doing like 45, maybe. So anyway, and I'm sitting just off the street in a parking lot, but I'm parallel with the street. And anyway, as soon as my radar detects it, I hit the remote and I lock it in. Because I know now I've got to turn around and go get him. And of course, as soon as he even sees me, he's like, woo, he slows down. Well, anyway, I pull him over. And he's got 3 other coworkers in the truck with him. And I can hear them laughing. The coworkers laughing at him for getting pulled over. So I'm approaching the driver door, and I thought, since they're laughing and having a good time at his expense, because he's kind of laughing like, oh crap, you know, because they only have an hour to eat and get back. And so anyway, I pull up, and I said, need to see your pilot's license and your insurance card. And they just lost it at that point. And I said, where are y'all going? He goes, we're going to lunch. And anyway, I just had fun with it. He didn't have any infractions on his driving record. I didn't want to botch it up for him, and you know, I was just making the stop. Usually just getting stopped does the trick, because nobody wants to get a ticket. Nobody wants to, you know, get pulled over again, because you're going to remember when you get pulled over. So anyway, I just wrote him a warning. It just lets my supervisors know I'm out there making contact. I'm running radar, you know, that kind of deal. But, you know, they didn't.
Don't you have to give them a ticket? Call it in? Don't you have to, when you call it in, don't you have to give them a ticket?
No, it's officer discretion. I can write a warning or I can write a ticket. And that's my discretion, because when I got back into the car, I ran his driver's license on the computer. Because we've got programs and we can run their driver's license. He had no traffic history. I wasn't going to mess that up for him. He had a good thing going, okay? And so anyway, I just wrote out a warning, because we all know what it feels like to be pulled over. It sucks. And we're like, oh my God. You know, it sucks. And I've never forgotten that. So, you know, just because.
Have you ever been pulled over? Have you ever been pulled over?
Oh, yeah. I've been pulled over while I was with the police department. I got pulled over twice in 2 months right after I retired, because I traded vehicles and they didn't know my truck. I had always drove. I'd had a 2007, I think, Expedition, and everybody knew my Expedition. But when I retired, I bought myself a retirement gift, and I bought a 2012 Chevy Silverado 4-door LTZ. Well, nobody knew that truck. And I'm only 2 months removed from the police department, and I got pulled over twice. I just didn't realize, because the thing was, I worked midnight to 8 at the university. Well, at 11:40 at night, there ain't many people on the road between where I live and where I had to be. And here's this shiny black truck going about 15 over the speed limit. And got pulled over not far from my house. And all of a sudden, as soon as the light changed, I saw the officer pull over. I mean, I saw him make a U-turn. I'm like, ah, crap, I'm fixing to get pulled over. And anyway, he lit me up. As soon as the light changed, he lit me up. And I pulled over, and here he comes. He goes, I'm officer. And he goes, dadgummit. You know, and I said, hey, what you doing? You know, of course, we sat there and jibber jabber for a little bit, and then I went on. I didn't get a ticket. And then about a month later, dadgummit, it happened again. And I'm like, and this time it was closer to the campus. And again, brand new shiny black trucks flying down, you know. So anyway, they learned my truck. But yeah, I got pulled over. Actually, I've been pulled over 3 times. And the third time, I wasn't at the university anymore. I was doing pet sitting. And I was clipping down Gilmer Road, going out to Lake Cherokee. And I see the officer in the Tahoe, and he whips a U-turn. I'm like, crap. You know, and I wasn't paying any attention. I don't even know what the speed limit was. I just know what I was doing. And anyway, I thought I could have fun with this, but he doesn't know my car, because now I'm driving something different. And anyway, I pull over. I make the turn onto an inner loop, and I pull over because I really didn't have anywhere to pull into. And he starts giving me this motion like, go on down, go on down. So I go on down, and I pull off on a residential street, and he cuts out of his, and he's working STEP, which is a state enforcement. They're paid by the state. It's a grant and that kind of deal. So anyway, he was working speeding, or radar, I should say. And anyway, he gets all up to my car, and he goes, holy crap, Chatterton. And I'm like, hey, man, what are you doing? So I didn't get a ticket then. But I'm going to tell you, my luck's going to run out, because that was all in the early years after that was right after I retired. I won't have that luck now, because it's been 7 years. There are so many new officers, they're not going to know who I am, you know. But so I am the perfect driver. I lost my driver's license a year and a half ago. I've never replaced it. So.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Well,
but I
do what?
You're on the wrong side of the law now.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, I don't do anything to get pulled over for. I drive the speed limit. When I'm out on the open roads going out to my outer areas, I use my cruise control. So but my license is up for renewal, so it's going to take care of the problem. I got to do that online, so I'm going to get my driver's license back. But yeah, I lost it a year and a half ago, and I just do not want to go down to the DPS office and stand in line and renew it. So, yeah. But I have my passport in the truck with me, and I have my badge, my old, my clip badge, my flat badge, and my police ID. That's only in an extreme case, or if I had a wreck and I couldn't speak for myself, that's my ID. So I'm not worried about it. But I mean, I don't know the troopers now, and I see a lot of troopers out. A trooper's one of my customers. But yeah, my luck will run out, I'm sure. But we police our own.
Well, I don't know. This whole subject is I guess dependent upon the officer itself. You know.
Oh well, sure.
You know, there's places here. I was teaching a defensive driving class, and one of the things that I did when I first started the class is I would ask everybody what their infractions were if they wanted to tell me, and where. You know, and I was out. There was a lot of people getting speeding tickets in this one part of town that was on the border between Oklahoma and Arkansas. So I said, I've never heard of this town before. Of course, I didn't go that way very often. And I said, and they kept telling me, yeah, it's a speed trap, you know, and they put people in jail for no reason. You know, they take their money, it's a money pit, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, this one time, a girl had come in and she had told me that she'd gotten a ticket, and they pulled her out of her vehicle, and she had a sippy cup in the back seat where her daughter was, you know, during the day. And of course, this was at night, and she was out partying. And they said that in the sippy cup they found alcohol, which, you know, she said up and down that there was no alcohol in her child's sippy cup. And they put her in jail, and they charged her $1,500 for public intox.
Was she driving? Was she driving?
Yep.
You can't be public intoxicated if you're driving. That's a DWI.
This is what I'm saying. She told me that they pulled her out of her vehicle and they charged her with public intox. Now, why wouldn't you get more for a DUI than you would a public intox?
Well, yeah. In Texas, public intoxication is just a Class C misdemeanor.
Yeah. Right, $1,500.
Well, that sounds like a DWI. A Class C misdemeanor in Texas doesn't exceed 500.
Yeah, she showed me her ticket. She got a public intox, $1,500.
She must have convictions.
So I told her to take it to court. She took it to court. She won. Okay, she did win. Then I made another phone call. Anyways, in that phone call, they went to this city. FBI went to the city and shut them down. For 5.5 years, that city was shut down. They had no police department. They had no nothing.
Wow.
And they found out what was happening. There was a place down the street that sold car parts. And what was happening was between the three of them, they would put people in jail. If they couldn't pay, they would take their vehicles. They would take their vehicles to that other guy, and the guy would take the vehicles apart and sell the parts. It was a little ring that was going on. Yeah.
Oh, there's always a dirty cop somewhere. I mean, but you know what the thing is if you just let them keep going, just give them enough rope, they'll hang themselves. They just will. I mean, and they'll somehow they made it through the interview. They got hired. But, I mean, somewhere in some of these people that are police officers, there's a corruption seed that was planted, and it just goes downhill. And those are people you just want to put distance between you and them.
Yeah.
But,
it's scary when you're out there, and if you're a person that doesn't spend much time on the wrong side of the law, you don't know who to trust. You don't know if that officer that's pulling you over is a good cop or a bad cop. You know, if you just do what he asks you to do and you've got an attitude, it doesn't matter what you do.
Right.
But
well,
in today's age, because, like you said, because of all the cell phones, the minute the cop sees the cell phone going, he's on that to tick off.
Well,
you know?
Because of Homeland Security, he should be recording his traffic stop. It's required. Yeah. They should have, I mean, our department, I think about 1.5 years or 2 years ago, finally went to body cameras, so they're wearing the body cameras. But before that, we just wore a transmitter, and then it was recording from the camera just above or below, somewhere right up our rear view mirror. But we wore the transmitter to record the audio. So, but yeah, that's all because of 9/11. So every department in the United States should have recording equipment in their cars. So
yeah, I agree. If Rick was coming through, I don't know if he was joking or not, but when Rick said that he had won that, gone court and won, and apparently the officer's camera wasn't working at that time, that right there, I think a lot of that would help with some of the bad cops that are out there.
They sell those. They sell those cameras that attach to your rear view mirror and then has the look. They sell them for like $60 on Amazon.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, you're not allowed to use that. You can't use that, can you, Rick? You're not allowed to use the recorded equipment for it because they said it's inadmissible.
You know what I learned about Kentucky? I watch a lot of shows. Since I gave up my DirecTV, I subscribe to YouTube TV, and it's $40 a month. but I still get to watch some of the channels live, just like I did when I had DirecTV. But one of them is the Oxygen channel. Anyway, it's I can't remember what the show is. It's a reality thing. But anyway, they're investigating this disappearance of Crystal Rogers, and I think it's up in Bardesville or Bard something, Bardstown. It's going to be more on the western side of Kentucky. But anyway, here's what I found.
Is that Bartlesville?
I don't remember. It's Bard something, Bard something. But here's what I learned, and but here's what I learned. This reporter is doing this investigation. She's doing this story, and she's got a guy that's a retired police officer working with her. Okay, and this girl has gone. She's disappeared. She's been gone. I think November will be 2 years that she's just disappeared. And she had like 5 kids. Anyways, it's an interesting story to follow. Her dad's been killed, and they don't know who did that one either. What is that show? I'm gonna look it up now. But anyway, what I found out was from watching this was that they hired a guy, a private individual who is a retired Kentucky State police officer who does now private like forensic collections. Like they needed her car like processed, okay? Because in Kentucky, and the guy goes, it's written down. He goes, it is law. Kentucky, anyone in law enforcement can only submit 10 pieces of evidence. He goes, it doesn't matter if you collect 110 pieces of evidence to be sent off and submitted for prints, DNA, whatever. You can only send in 10. And I'm like, oh God, I hope I'm never murdered or something in Kentucky, because they only get to send in 10 pieces of evidence. So, I mean, think of all the crimes that are committed that may never get solved because law enforcement have their hands tied because they only select 10 pieces of evidence. And this guy bagged up, I mean, every single thing out of this chick's car that should have been collected, but because law enforcement already knew they can only send in 10, they just left it. So,
Yeah, I wish I could hire a private investigator.
It is.
Find out killing my brother. You know, my brother got killed when he was 19. The cops wouldn't do anything. They wouldn't do a thing, and they just kept telling me to leave it alone, leave it alone, leave it alone, and they cremated him before anybody identified his body. So, you know, there was no closure there, and for years I kept fighting them, but nothing. And still to this day, you know,
still unsolved.
You know, I don't know. He could be walking around someplace, and I don't know squat about it. But
wow,
it just really makes me angry. So
well, yeah,
I wish I could hire somebody to go back and look. Now with all the DNA stuff they got going on,
you need to get in touch with Cold Justice. I'm telling you, if y'all are not cable people, anybody, and you don't have like satellite or whatever, YouTube TV, you can watch it on any device. You can watch it on your computer. So with tax, it's $42. But anyway, it is. What is this show called? Now I can't find it.
History.
No, it's called. I wonder. Oh, resume watching. It's called. Hang on. Well, I start so many shows and then I never finish them. I think it's called The Disappearance of Crystal Rogers or something. I wish it would show my history.
You talking about YouTube?
YouTube TV.
Well, it does show you.
Not YouTube, it's YouTube TV. It's something that it's something by YouTube, but I can live stream. That's how I can still watch my Rangers games, and so I can still keep up with some of the shows I was watching on DirecTV. It's just that I'm not paying $167 a month now for my satellite. I pay $42. It's not YouTube Red.
Oh.
It's just go to Google and type in YouTube TV. And
You can watch movies on it?
there are movies. If you go to it,
What's the difference between paying for YouTube TV and YouTube regular?
Well, YouTube regular is free. YouTube TV,
Right, so why would you pay for something if you can?
Because YouTube TV allows me to, like right now, I can watch. There is a, it shows me what is currently live. Like I can watch Fox News. I can watch Sports Center, ESPN, anything that's currently live and it's on YouTube TV. I can watch it. I can go back and I can watch my Texas Rangers games. I can watch my Dallas Cowboy games. I can watch the Oxygen channel, but it'll tell you what channels they carry. They don't carry everything, but they carry what I watch, and but I watch Cold Justice.
Oh, we all know what you watch. We all know.
Well,
go to bed. Oh, hey, go to bed. Go up.
But
anyway, you got to make a date to come up to the property.
I will. It's just gonna probably have to be after October. But yes, it has movies. Has Rush Hour, Mission Impossible. It's just whatever they're popping up there. I think it's a good deal for $42. It sure beats $167 for no more.
Does it keep you off of Amazon?
No.
Oh boy.
That's how I got my cookies.
Yeah.
I ordered four more.
I think you need a group for your Amazon.
I need an intervention.
Yeah, big time.
All right, you ready to wrap this up? Because I think Rick needs to go live. What do you think?
He won't go live. He's liking this too much. He doesn't have to do nothing.
Well, folks, I have to sign a disclosure. What? I think Rick needs to go live.
I would sit out. I would say, me too. I know. I would sit outside with my phone going, but last time I did the wolves, remember? Wrapping all on my porch. I couldn't get the spot in there.
Yeah.
But I would love to sit out since you guys listen to the howls over in Fort Chaffee. That is awesome out there, but I can't go live.
Yeah.
Look outside my laptop. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's just, in another 2-3 weeks, probably another 3 weeks, I'll be doing that property, that spooky 120. And so I'm going to see if I can go live out there. Some places are just not AT&T friendly. So
yeah, but that'll be fun.
I'm going to try. I won't be able to do it, but maybe a couple of times. So we'll just have to make sure Booger Rick ain't doing something. All right, Rick, you ready to go live? Because we're going to wrap it up, and you're going to go live because we all have to have our dose of Bailey and the cats and the frog.
Oh, Mia.
I'm assuming Sissy brought Mia back.
Sissy didn't take Mia.
She could have. You don't know.
No, she didn't.
All right, Sissy, this is your lie detector test. Are you prepared to answer the question? signify by a yes or a no. You ready? You ready, Sissy? This is how we're going to determine if Sissy is an honest person. Sissy, is Mickey Mouse a cat or a dog?
You're so silly. Oh my gosh.
What's your answer, Sissy? Is Mickey Mouse a cat or a dog? Well, there you go. It's a rat. So Sissy's honest. She has clarity in her head. So Sissy didn't take Mia after all.
Nope.
So, all right.
Sissy is probably one of the very few people that you can actually say that you can trust. But Sissy will not lie to you. She'll tell you how it is. She is very honest. She's very sincere, and she doesn't play any games.
Those are some accolades, Sissy.
One person right there that if you want to be a friend, there's a good friend right there.
We have a friend in you. We have a friend in Sissy. All right, we're hanging up, and Rick's going to go live. So warm up your pooter, wood booger Rick. I know Sissy's like, sure do hate it when Dee's honest about me. All right, Dee, me and you are hanging up. Rick, fire up your pooter, because now it's your turn. All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait
a minute. What?
Wait. Remember, all of us, and I know Rick's listening right now, but all of us agreed that we would like to see Rick put the camera or the phone up
yes,
and see it.
Rick, you've got to go live again from up on the observation hill.
How about the expert stuff, Rick? I'm going to slap you with something. We'll send a booger down there to smack you in the head with a rock.
Or we're just going to stick boogers up your nose. Because you can pick your friends, and you can pick your boogers. But can't pick your friends' boogers. So, with that being said... Anyway, me and you are getting off. Rick needs to go live, put his thingy back up there. It doesn't have to be tonight, but he needs to plan for it pretty soon. And,
you see what she's saying? Yes, pretty please.
Yes. So, that was such a good... I'm going to kill my cat. She's messing with my phone. Great results. I think it's best if you put your phone in... put it in their living room, because that was great results. So anyway, me and Dee are hanging up. Rick, you're going live. Warm up your pooter, and here we go. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Here we go.
Hey, Mark, go.
Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3. Bye, everybody.